Hello, my name is Olivier De Schutter. I'm the United Nations Special Rapporteur on the right to food, and I would like to first welcome the volunteers of 1111 working on this very important campaign on the right to food focused on biofuels, land grabbing and speculation on agricultural commodities. I think this is a very important moment and your role is absolutely key. For many years we have been focusing on the wrong priorities. The question of hunger was addressed by dumping food aid on populations in need. It was responded to by developing trade at international level, marginalizing in fact the first victims of hunger, who are the small-scale farmers, and encouraging the spread of rural poverty and inequality in rural areas as a result of this focus on export-led agriculture. In part, these small farmers were further marginalized by dumping on their own markets, sometimes by food aid, more systematically by the export from our countries on their markets in the name of promoting food security, but really making it difficult for these small farmers to invest in their production and for them to feed their local communities. So now governments are realizing that we must change course, and they insist very significantly in public on the need to invest in small-scale farmers, the need to invest in women farmers in particular, and the need to protect small farmers from the risk of evictions and from the risk of marginalization that is the result of the development of export-led agriculture. However, that is the rhetorics. In reality, what we see is at the same time an unwillingness to question our modes of consumption and, for example, our policies that encourage the production of agrofuels that are one major source of pressure on natural resources in the global south. There's an unwillingness to question really the capture of these resources by large investors developing in land grabbing on a large scale in developing countries, and there is an unwillingness to really address speculation, the result of the arrival of large hedge funds, institutional investors on the markets for agricultural commodities that lead the prices to be increasingly volatile and that make it extremely difficult for developing countries to support their population's access to the right to food. And so the campaign of 1111 is one that shall seek to put the major actors of agriculture in developing countries at the center. And these actors are small farmers who must be supported better by a relocalization of the food systems, by an investment in these small farmers by governments who must provide them with adequate training, adequate storage facilities, adequate access to local markets, adequate support in terms of allowing these farmers to be protected from volatile prices. It is, of course, a duty for the local governments to support their farmers in that way, but we in the North also have a responsibility to insist on our governments to better control the actors who practice land grabbing or who practice speculation, to question our lifestyles, our consumption. For example, when it leads to increase the pressure on the resources of the South for the production of agrofuels. And for all these reasons, this is very much a shared responsibility between the North and the South for a world that is more equitable, for agricultural and food systems that are more fair and that can deliver on the right to food. One major tool to move towards more sustainable and just food systems is to have governments held accountable to civil society. It is absolutely important that small farmers are better organized, that they have a greater say in the decision-making process, and that governments justify their choices to the population. And for this reason, support to civil society in the South is absolutely vital to succeed. One key part of the debate today is how to strengthen small-scale farmers' organizations, how to protect their and strengthen their bargaining position in the food chains, and how to make sure that nothing is done that will affect them without listening to them and taking their views into account. And that is absolutely key. I think one of the major reasons why in the past 30 years we've been marginalizing these producers, these small-scale farmers, is simply because they did not matter either as a political constituency or as an economic group. And this today must change, and I welcome the fact that Al-Falfalf is working in partnership with organizations in the South to this effect.